Here we go.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. You amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. And all the haters, I love you too. You also look amazing. Anyway, let's get straight into the meat and potatoes. Another phrase that people are moaning about. Can't please everyone, can you? Can't please everyone. Anyway, so we've obviously, in the Idaho 4 case, we've had the change of venue situation. It's got to go to the Supreme Court to be finalised. There's some confusion over whether Judge John Judge was coming away from it, but it does absolutely appear that in terms of the trial, Judge John Judge will not any longer be part of the Idaho 4 case. And if you go into the Idaho records that they always refer to when they do these documents, you know, ICR section 21, I think it's A, B, whatever. But yeah, if you read it and read into the relevance of them documents, then they would suggest that Judge John Judge is again allowing another judge to take over. But we have the Goncalves family who have spoken out and given a public statement reference the change of venue. Now, we knew they wouldn't be happy about it. And look, I get it. I get why they're not happy about it. And I think that that's important for other people to understand. Now, if they didn't feel that there was more of a chance of Brian Kohberger being convicted at ground zero, I don't think they would bother so much. I don't think that somebody who's lost a child would begrudge driving to court if it's an hour and a half drive, whatever it is. I certainly wouldn't. I would if I was in the similar situation. And don't get me wrong, everyone's different, but it wouldn't matter whether the court was fucking 15 hours away. I'd be going there, and I certainly wouldn't be moaning about it. But look, let's just go over this statement because, again, I think it's very important for us to look at what is being said and pitch that into this entire situation of bias and why the trial was moved in the first place. Because I think that some people seemingly got hit on the head, or they're just taking the piss. They're just trolling people. So Goncalves' family statement, the family is incredibly disappointed. And by the way, I can't show it on the screen because if I show it on the screen, the chances are I'll get struck. So just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to read it. The family is incredibly disappointed in the judge's ruling granting the change of venue. The only good thing about this decision is it will be Judge's last decision in this case. So again, this is kind of confirmation from around camp, if you like, that our thoughts and feelings over whether Judge was going to move is indeed he is leaving the case, and they are backing that up. The family has always felt that Judge favoured the defence, and it was common theme that whatever the defence wanted or needed, they got. Are they fucking joking? The judge favoured the defence, and they got whatever they wanted. The prosecution has not once been sanctioned for anything. The defense team have had to consistently request discovery over and over and over again. Now, the final deadline for discovery surpassed at the beginning of September, I believe. And there is still elements to that was missing on the deadline day. The IGG stuff is still being withheld. They're still awaiting that to be finalised from the last time I looked at the docs. That may have changed now, but the point being, we've had, 16 or 17 requests for discovery on very, very simple things. When Dr. Edelman's survey went out, the judge stopped all proceedings without any notification or anything and froze that solid because the prosecution requested that be done, only to then find out that this is a situation that commonly occurs. There was no issue for it. It is something that is done and needed to be done to determine bias in the community, and just delayed the process. So it's not a case of the defense have constantly got what they wanted. What have they got what they wanted? What have they got that they wanted? apart from now a change of venue that seems to be that even that was being battled up to the last minute. And it was being battled by the prosecution. The prosecution wanted to retain, and we'll get there in a second. We'll come back to that. Stick a pin in it. The written decision is even more informative. If the judge knew Latah County could not handle this trial for safety reasons, not enough court clerks, logistics, and lacking space, why did we waste over a year in a county he knew was not going to handle the trial? For the aforementioned reasons, the prosecution wanted to retain the trial. So did you in Latah County. To the point was they were trying to work round the logistics by putting the trial outside of term time to try and alleviate those pressures. But ultimately, Judge was trying to do what the family, I would say families, but the mouthpiece for the tragedy and the prosecution. So he's tried to keep hold of it right up until the last moment. That wasn't done for the defense. That was done for the likes of you and the prosecution. So Judge John Judge wasn't working, again, stick a bit in it. So the points he mentioned didn't all of a sudden jump up and bite him in the rear. You're absolutely right. Another issue was the poor cross-examination by the state of the defense expert witnesses. There was nothing to cross-examine. Absolutely, there wasn't anything to cross-examine. The information was that clear that there was nothing to cross-examine. What were you trying to? What was you going to try and do? That put a spin on the fact that it was clearly shown that there was a massive degree of bias in Latah County, huge, to the point where they were threatening to burn the courthouse down if Brian Kohberger was not found guilty. And they're basing that off what these people have seen by way of evidence being pushed out in the public. And what are they seeing and where are they seeing it? That is the important thing. I am still having people who are saying that Brian Kohberger is guilty of this crime. And one of the reasons they give for that decision is that he was stalking victims. Now, where the fuck did that information come from? Where was it pushed heavily that Brian Kohberger was stalking the victims and had messaged them on DMs in their social media, who had gone to their house and was that close to the house that there was touch of the Wi-Fi, and putting that Brian Kohberger was him? I don't want him to breathe anymore, and he was entering the house with a fucking kill kit. Where did that come from? It came from people who are at the helm of a group that is full of people who have got a hatred for Brian Kohberger to the tune of over 60,000 people. Anyway, a judge can only rely on the evidence presented, and when you don't properly cross-examine expert witnesses or present any of your own, you are left relying on the opinions of the defense. Well, that's obvious, but let's not forget the massive contradiction of having a University of Idaho employee as an expert witness, Eliza Cover, and at the same time allowing Scott Green, the University of Idaho president, to write a book claiming to be an integral part of your investigation. You said, this is you, Steve, that you was an integral part of the investigation, that you were providing timelines, you were providing information. You stated in the public domain, in social media, in mainstream media, in the likes of News Nation, that you were questioning potential jurors. You can't make this shit up. The University of Idaho president, the right book claimed to be right. Finally, what was the point of the non-dissemination order? Private hearings, closed-door tactics, allowing the defendant to be dressed in a suit for every televised hearing, etc., if not to keep the trial in Latah County. As victims' families, you are left to just watch like everyone else, and rarely you have little rights to say in the process. And at the same time, you are the most vested in the outcome. And that is the problem, Steve, or whoever wrote this. That's the problem. You have got skin in the game, and it makes your opinion interfered with by emotion. And in these situations, you cannot allow emotion to hurt your judgment. And that's the entire point of this entire process. And you have proven it in this statement. This statement is the absolute foundation for why a change of venue is so important. Now, you are not going to go anywhere where somebody hasn't heard of this case. You can't even go in there. They were talking about this case in my children's high school. This case is everywhere. But the issue you have is the figures in terms of the size of the community and how polluted that is with bias. And Latah County represents a very small number of people with a real high percentage of people who has been infected with falsities, with flat out lies, and who will feel a certain commitment to getting what they feel is justice. And what somebody feels is justice and what is justice are sometimes worlds apart. And that's why you have to try and put this in a position where there is no emotion, or as little emotion and just facts as possible. Because Brian Coburg, whether you feel that he deserves to wear a fucking orange jumpsuit or whether he wears a suit, why are you trying to dress him into something? I'll tell you why. You're trying to dress him in an orange jumpsuit, for instance, because you feel that that makes him look more guilty. And you're upset that he's wearing a suit because it makes him look more innocent. There is the problem. Because again, you're trying to affect what people's perception when they look at Brian Koberger, how they feel when they look at him, and that's not how this is supposed to be tried. It's supposed to be tried on facts. So people are supposed to just look at him as a normal fucking person, just as a run-of-the-mill guy, and the information, the facts, the evidence. That's what does the talking. Anyway, I digress. So where are we? The point of the non-dissemination order, well, we know what the point of that was, to try and stop people talking about the case. But lo and behold, nobody fucking listened, and it actually done more damage. Best outcome. We have always felt that a fair and impartial jury could be found in Latah County, and still believe that is where the trial deserves to be held. To help the community heal. Thank you again for your support and prayers. Again, this is it. This last line here. We felt that a fair and impartial jury could be found. No, you felt that you had most of the support there. You felt that you had most of the support there. So, and that offers you some degree of safety. And I get why you want to feel that. I feel for you in that sense. You drive me fucking insane as a family because of the things that you've said and the things that you've done, which ultimately have led us to exactly where we are here. Exactly where we are here. The likes of News Nation and their reporting and your interaction with them, and this has all perpetuated it. And there isn't just one victim here. It isn't just Kaylee. It is the others. There was 3 others that lost their lives, and all of these families deserve justice. But is in the hunt for what is right for you, for what you feel is justice, could potentially affect what the true justice is. Even with Brian Koberger, if Brian Koberger is guilty, and he could be guilty, it's the shit like this that is going to give him grounds for, an appeal, and he could win an appeal because of the amount of stuff that if he gets found guilty and it isn't so clear cut, then what's going to happen? They're going to go back into this. They're going to look back, and they're going to go into how what was the chance of him ever getting a fair trial anywhere? Like the first message here, I'm not going to read who says it, but Boise welcomes you with open arms. We'll be right alongside you. The other families ensuring justice is served. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. You know, our family has Airbnbs right in downtown Boise, so if anyone in that your family needs a place to be put up, please feel free to reach out, which is nice. Do you know what I mean? So, in terms of people looking to help them who have businesses out there, that is absolutely fantastic. But it's when you read these comments, the good news is that there will be no venue anywhere in this nation that is untouched by this story. Justice will prevail. And when I don't know who this person is, but you can bet your bollocks to a barn dance if you was to say, what do you mean by that? And they will turn around and say, people know that it was Brian Kohberger. Brian Kohberger will be convicted. What? But you're basing that off of what? What have you seen? What do you know? This is a worldwide case. No matter how far they run, they can't hide. Evil will lose and good will prevail. Nice try, BK, but it's still over for you, son. And this is just perpetuating all of this crap, all of this stuff. And it's on and on and on and on and on. Drives me fucking insane. Let me know how you feel about it, and I'll catch you all in the next one.